Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about my note-taking evolution from high school to college, and I'm going to just show you how my style of note-taking has changed. So we're starting off with these notes. These are my pre-calculus notes from junior year of high school, and as you can see, these are very chaotic. They've got a lot of different colors. My handwriting is really bad, really interesting. And honestly, these were just not very effective for me. Though I spent a lot of time on them, I didn't end up finding them ultimately super useful, so didn't really use them a lot. I kind of hit my stride with this set of notes though. These are my A-push notes, and although these are still a little bit on the chaotic side in terms of them just having a lot going on, I ended up really using these. This is probably because I kind of kept it a little bit more minimal. I typically would only use about 2 colors to do everything, and even though these maybe aren't the neatest notes ever in terms of just general quality, I really did get some good use out of them. Same thing for these notes. These are my econ notes, and yeah, these are also a little bit crazy and a little bit all over the place, but I still found them to be overall pretty effective. I just tried to keep them organized. And around my, about like halfway through this semester of junior year, I decided to change up my handwriting a little bit and just the way I took my notes. I decided to write a lot smaller, and this just helped keep my notes neater. I also got mild liners around this time. I'm using those to do the headers, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing with those. A little cringy, honestly. Wow. Then over here I'm showing you some faux calligraphy, my first attempt, with a silver gel pen. I don't hate that. Looks pretty nice, actually. Over here I'm going back to my pre-calc notes, and as you can see, I've toned them down a lot. I'm basically only using 2 colors, black and one other, and that's how I have continued to take my notes up until this day. Same thing for these AP Psych notes. In this notebook, it had super thin lines, I remember, so it was definitely super helpful in keeping my notes small and also neat. AP Psych, by the way, is a really good class. If you have the opportunity to take it, you definitely should. It's super cool, super interesting, and I just overall learned a lot. As you can see in this notebook, I also started to do a lot of charts and tables and diagrams and stuff, and this is something that I would continue to do, you know, in my note-taking method, like up until this day. So over here, this is back to my A-push notes, and this is about the time when I decided to completely change my handwriting, and this took a really long time to do and a lot of practice. I had to get used to writing a little bit slower than I was used to at first, but then I kind of picked it up and got back into the stride. I'm really glad that I did this, even though it took a lot of time to figure it out, because I think that it's kind of hard to be a girl with bad handwriting. There's like a stereotype, you know, that girls always have good handwriting, and I don't know, I guess I always felt weird about my handwriting because people would tell me that it looked like guy handwriting or something like that. I don't know, not to like unload my childhood trauma on this note-taking video or whatever. But anyway, I'm super proud of the way that these look now, and I think that they turned out pretty well. So we're back to my econ notes. The notes that you just saw were my psych notes. I should have mentioned that earlier. Anyway, in this set of notes, I tried to do some different things with the headers and some like calligraphy styles. Now we're moving on to senior year. This notebook is from AP Stats, and in this notebook, I kind of came into my own a little bit more with the style. I started to do these frankly kind of awful calligraphy headers on the top. I had just gotten some brush pens, didn't really know what I was doing with the 2 stripes of color, which is something that I still do for all my headers. This isn't my idea. I got it from Jasmine at Study Quill. I totally copied that, so all credit for that look goes to her. I just think it looks really clean and simple. Another thing that I started doing was, again, using a mild liner a lot more, but I did it a little bit differently. Instead of using the chisel end to highlight important words, I would use the marker end to put a box around important words, and this works really well for me because when I do this, I don't really have to worry about using a quick drying pen because I don't have to worry about it smearing. It's just a super effective method. And over here, I'm just showing you some notes from AP Chem. This notebook that I'm showing you, actually, I started out using as a bullet journal. You can see the boxes that I'm using again, and some more AP Chem notes. This is back in my old econ notebook. Honestly, a common theme of my note-taking method, as you will see, is that I just reuse old notebooks because I never tend to fill them up. I don't know why I have so many notebooks. I just do. I think I keep getting them as gifts from friends and family. So this is a PSA to my friends and family. If you're thinking of a gift to get me and you think of a notebook, please do not get me any more notebooks. I have far too many and I never fill them up. Over here, this set of notes I forgot to mention is my art history, AP art history notes. This is again a super interesting class, and if you have the opportunity to take it in high school, you definitely should, because the material is super different and it's just really not like what's covered in a lot of high school classes. And over here, again, this is a notebook that's a gift from a friend, and it's for AP Comp Gov. These notes, oh god, the calligraphy, wow, crazy. Over here, this is some more AP Art History notes, and here we have some more AP Chem notes. Honestly, I'm not sure why I have so many AP Chem notes, considering I didn't do particularly well in AP Chem, either the class or the exam. It was just a really rough time for me. I actually kind of like the way these notes came out with just the two colors and the calligraphy headers, and my calligraphy is surprisingly pretty decent. It doesn't look all that bad, so go me, I guess. I just wish that these notes had been a little bit more effective for me, like studying AP Chem, but you know, it is what it is. And moving on, this is my second bullet journal, I think, and in this bullet journal I'm not really showing you flip through my bullet journal, it's just some notes that I took during college. This was honestly kind of a hectic time when I was taking notes in my bullet journal because I didn't really have a full note-taking style. As you can see, it's just a black pen and a highlighter. It's super basic, super minimal, there's just not really a lot going on, but this was just because I was really just trying to find a note-taking style that worked for me. Eventually I did, and that's where you'll see this particular notebook come into play. Basically, I just started to take my notes by, I would take them kind of roughly in a notebook and then rewrite them with extra information into a designated per subject notebook. The notebook that I'm showing you right now is from Muji, and it's a B5 like spiral notebook, and I think the class that it's for, it's Hume 110, which is just a like intro writing / learning about the classics class that we have to take at my school. And overall, really enjoyed using this notebook. The pages are super smooth, and Muji spiral notebooks are kind of supremely underrated in my opinion. Over here we have another Muji notebook, and this has grid paper instead. And this I used for my intro bio class, which was one of the hardest classes I have taken to date. Learned a lot, but it was really hard. I think this is partly because I didn't have a super great biology background, but I really did enjoy learning about all the different stuff in biology. I'm sorry, I am not being very coherent right now, but yeah, super rewarding class, and I'm very proud of myself for sticking with it, even though it was quite challenging. Moving on, I think we're going to, oh, here we go. These are my intro psych class notes from intro psych at college. This was another class that I really enjoyed and I got a lot out of. I think you can tell how much I liked the class for how detailed my notes are. They've got a ton of diagrams and charts and stuff. I just found all the material that we covered in this class super interesting, and I think that is kind of reflected. This is definitely some of the most diagram heavy notes I've ever taken, so yeah. Super different, super interesting. Over here, this notebook we're going back to that notebook that we saw earlier, and in this notebook I just took a lot of rough lecture notes for college. This is honestly not a super cute notebook, so it doesn't have like all the aesthetic calligraphy titles or whatever, but it's kind of making me nostalgic to look back on it because it just reminds me of a simpler time when I was just a freshman taking some of these intro classes with my friends, and they were in person. It's been kind of rough because I've been at home taking classes this year because of the global pandemic. We love to see it. So looking back on this is kind of making me think about how much happier I guess I was when I was taking notes in this notebook. Oh, wow, not to bring down the mood over here, but yeah. So this notebook is filled with a lot of diagrams, sort of like really rough diagrams, but it also has a lot of doodles and me just writing down funny things that the professor said and shit posting. Is it shit posting if you're not posting stuff anywhere? I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, over here we have some more rough notes that I took in my the same notebook that I used for those AP Chem notes earlier. And this notebook I used when I was at home, actually, because they had just sent us home because of COVID-19. We love to see it. So this is from my second semester of freshman year. And actually really enjoyed using this notebook at this time because the pages in it are super thick. So that was kind of fun. But basically, I just took a ton of notes at that time because there really wasn't much to do except to go to online school. Here is my second notebook for Hume 110. It is a Kokyo Campus notebook. I actually think I might like Kokyo Campus paper even more than I like Muji paper. It's just super smooth, and it really is, and it's kind of like a bright white color. It takes brush pens really well, and it's also very like light and compact. It's just a really nice paper is what I'm trying to say. However, I do wish it had come with a few more pages because I totally would have liked to write on a super big notebook like this. I think it would have been really satisfying to have all my notes in one place. This notebook is some more psych notes, and this is, I think, from Apica. Apica notebooks are honestly so underrated in the study community. The pages are super thick, and so there's no bleed through, and they're also just amazingly smooth. They take brush pens so well. I think the paper is actually meant for fountain pen writing. This notebook is a bit big for my taste, but so was my last psych notebook. I think it's like the A4 size, which it's not my personal favorite size. I also love the design of the front of this. It's got that like vintage effect to it, which is really cool. Over here we have some more bio notes, and I took these notes in a Kokyo soft ring notebook. This just has graph paper. The soft ring notebooks are super cool because you can kind of write all the way on the back of the page without your hand like brushing up against the spiral, which is such a weird thing. Like, that's honestly not something anyone needs, but I really enjoyed it. Here we have some more Hume notes that I'm taking in a large A4 Maruman, another notebook company that has great paper. And finally, we have my notes from the beginning of this school year. And as you can see, I did a lot of scratch work in this like kind of catch-all notebook because I had started to take my calculus class, which was the first math class I've taken at college. It had been a long time since I had done math, so I was pretty rusty, so this was definitely a challenge for me. And over here we have some more rough notes that I'm showing you in this notebook that I got from Appointed Co. This was honestly one of my favorite notebooks that I've ever used. The paper was super smooth, and this was just really great for scratch work as well as note-taking. This was just honestly such a great like catch-all notebook. I would highly recommend that anyone who's has the opportunity to try it out should try it out. It is a bit expensive because it was made in America, but honestly, I really don't mind. This was such a great notebook, so compact, and you didn't really have to worry about, again, the whole thing with like the spiral hurting your hand, which is like, I know, such a first world problem, but it honestly makes such a big difference. I can't even tell you because you're just kind of writing sideways. Oh, honestly, genius. Highly recommend that notebook. It's great. Now, going back to the Maruman for a little bit to show you some more notes that I took. This is definitely towards the end of the semester. Now, I'm showing you my notebook / binder that I used for my rewritten notes. And this is not a slash binder, this is a binder. This is a Kokyo Campus binder. I am not honestly a huge fan of binders because they kind of remind me of middle school. I don't know if this was the case for anybody else, but my middle school was super obsessed with everybody having a binder for every single class. And it's just like, why? Why do we need to do this? So I kind of associate binders with like Ugg boots, EOS chapsticks, and like girls telling you that someone was talking about you, but they're not going to tell you what they said. So it kind of goes in that category of memories, so I've tried to avoid them. However, I really enjoyed using this binder. It has 26 rings instead of the standard 3 rings. So you do need to get special paper for it, but I am in love with Kokio Campus paper. It's super smooth and also thin and compact. It kind of made the whole having to stay at home and not getting to go back to college, thus having intense FOMO about things, even though you knew no one at college was having a good time either, that feeling a little bit better. So it didn't fix everything, but it was kind of helpful. We love retail therapy. Anyway, I really want to thank you for getting all the way through this video. I know that it was kind of long and I'm not sure how interesting this was, but yeah, thanks for watching.